Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So today we are checking out some Day 1 decks for the new Season Pass card, Daken. Daken is a 3-cost 4 power that reads, on reveal, add the Muramasa Shard to your hand. The Muramasa Shard is a 1/1 with the text, when this is discarded or destroyed, you can double Daken's power. So, pretty interesting card. A lot of parallels here to Thor for me, as it's, same stats as Thor. It's giving you another card. Instead of putting it in the deck, you get it in your hand. And instead of being a on-reveal focused thing, this is more in line with discard or destroy effects. And it's cool to see a card like this that can actually succeed in different archetypes. You could go the destroy route, you could go the discard route, maybe you combo both of them, a little bit of both. So I like the design of this card quite a bit. I think it's going to be very fun to mess around with, and I think it looks a lot better than the previous Season Pass card we had in the Phoenix Force. Now, unlike the other cards releasing throughout the month, this is not going to be in a Spotlight cache right away since it's the Season Pass card, so you won't be really having to consider what is in the Spotlights this week to get the card, because it's not going to be in there, it's in the pass. I think usually Season Pass cards are almost always worth getting. You get a lot of value out of the Season Pass if you spend any money in the game at all. Season Pass is probably where you should be spending it because you get all the other stuff, as well as the new card, which will be going to Series 5 once it rotates out of being the Season Pass card. I think there's a lot of potential for this card, so pretty excited to dive into some decks here. Before we do, if you enjoy this type of content, remember to like and subscribe. Does it done to help out the channel, keeps the videos coming. Let's dive into some Day 1 decks for Daken. Before we talk about the decks here though, I do want to quickly mention that I am going to be using Hulkbuster as a substitute here, as at the time of recording this, Daken wasn't in the Snapzone deck builder database yet. I'll try and update this so that that way by the time the card is live, it will be correct, but if you see Hulkbuster in there for some reason, just know that is where your Daken is supposed to be. First up, one of the most popular archetypes in the game right now, and that is Thanos Destroy. Destroy has always been a much beloved archetype from the player base, and Thanos has finally made a bit of a comeback with it, especially after the buff to Nimrod. Deck has been having a lot of success both on ladder and in conquest, and Daken just seems like a really solid include. It's a decent body that gives us another cheap thing that we can destroy with our Carnage, Venom, Killmonger, or Deathlock, which will then reduce our death. It'll pump our Daken. It just fits into the game plan remarkably well with the natural destroy synergy that we're going for in this deck. And with Thanos, it's usually not that hard to weave in an extra mana here or there to get the Muramasa Shard down. Then if you want to go in a bit more of a discard direction, we have a pretty solid discard list here. Colleen Wing getting a bit of additional value here outside of just Swarm and Wolverine, and now that she can help guarantee to discard our Shard, which is nice. And MODOK going to be especially good because, again, guaranteed discard of the Shard if we did play Daken down beforehand. Discard hasn't really been seeing a whole ton of play recently, even though I think it is still a fine deck. So hopefully the power from Daken will give it a little bit of a boost that it needs. The other cool thing here is we can slam down Daken into our Storm lane along with Nebula, then discard the Muramasa Shard with our MODOK so we can pump it up later, much like Thor in the other on-reveal decks. Not much else to say about it. Pretty standard discard list here. We're going to be closing it out with our Apocalypse or Chavez, and Dracula, another nice thing for us to slam into the Storm lane, or just in any lane that we don't really have to be concerned about our opponent interacting with our big stuff. Morbius, Wolverine, and Swarm make up our early game. Colleen just for the discard effect for both the Shard and our other powerful discard synergistic cards. And Morbius usually gets pretty big, mainly for MODOK, but Sif helps out sometimes too. Next up, we have what I think is kind of an interesting hybrid, and so this is a Stature Black Bolt list running the Darkhawk package. There have been a lot of different versions of this deck going around, but that's kind of the main core. You get the Darkhawk cards, Shang-Chi, Iron Lad for redundancy, Stature Bolt to help close out the game, but we're fitting in Daken, who we can get rid of the Shard with either Colleen or Killmonger. To add to the Colleen value, we're putting Swarm in here, which can just be used as a regular 2-drop, but obviously gives a little bit of synergy with Colleen. and of course Zavu, because we do have 4 very powerful 4-drops in our deck. So anytime we can cheat out some mana to get them out sooner or get more cards out a turn, that's always pretty good, especially when we can weave in the Muramasa Shard with a 4-drop on turn 4. Then we have what I think is the list I'm most excited to try out, and that is going to be a Destroy Surfer deck. So someone experimented with this a little while ago, and I think it's pretty interesting. Obviously, Daken is a 3-drop, so he does get a boost from Surfer, and depending how we order this, we could boost him up from Surfer and then get the Shard to go off, so that's pretty cool. I think this is one of the few Surfer decks where you're not necessarily always going to be playing Surfer on the final turn. We have Nimrod for a bit of a backup plan as well, where if Surfer isn't really working out, or if we don't draw the Surfer, you can play Nimrod on 5 and then blow it up with 2 destroy effects on the final turn to spread the power around the board. Then we have our main destroy enablers in Carnage, Deathlock, Venom, and Killmonger. All very solid cards, some good destroy fodder in Wolverine, Bucky, Nova, and obviously the Muramasa Shard. And Sabretooth, kind of another underrated card here, where we can eat it with Venom, eat it with some of our other destroy cards, and keep bringing it back to get destroyed again. And then just Brood, because we want an easy way to boost up a lane with our Surfer if we're going to be relying on the Surfer plan. And then the last deck we have here is probably the most experimental of the bunch, but a bit of a lore win deck. And that is a Black Panther themed deck. So we're running all the Panther cards in Okoye, Nakia, Shuri, Black Panther, even Killmonger. The idea here is we're trying to buff up Daken, so that way when we do deal with the Shard, we can make him even bigger, because he'll start off bigger. So we could buff him up with Shuri, Okoye, or Nakia. Pretty decent amount of options. And then once he's big, we could even blow him up with Zola. Panther also gives us a really solid thing to do here with the Zola combo. Shuri also good with Nimrod. Just a lot of general synergies between all of these cards. This definitely is the most ambitious list of the bunch. Not really sure if it's going to work out, but I do think either way it should be pretty fun to finally get a play with all these Black Panther cards together. And that's going to wrap it up for our Day 1 Daken decks. As always, links will be in the description if you want to grab any of these decks to import in game. And reminder, if you see a Hulkbuster in there anywhere, that's just acting as our Daken placeholder. Don't actually run that card in the deck. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you excited about this card? Are you picking this one up? Are you passing on it? What are some synergies you're looking forward to trying out? Let me know in the comments below. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.